Hello, 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 everyone. I'm so excited to be here. This month is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I'm super excited. I have Lula, the poet, and I am so excited to be here. We're going to have our conversation. Last month we started off where we were doing suicide awareness, and one of the things that we talked about was suicide awareness and arts and creatives, and how individuals use art as a form of healing. So I'm excited about the fact that we have our very own spoken word artist here with us, and we're going to have an amazing conversation today about domestic violence and the healing of trauma. And so what I would like to do is allow you, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful artists, to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yes. First and foremost, thank you so much, Tanya, and the Interactive Advocacy team for just welcoming me aboard and really taking value in my art. I am an all-around artist. My artist name is Porsha the Poet. So that's what everyone knows me as. That's where everybody follows me as. It's Porsha the Poet. Everything that I do is centered around healing, but poetry has been my tunnel for that. And everything that I do, whether it be acting, directing, advocating, hosting, is centered around spirituality and elevation of the mind. And a lot of what I do in the community is from an artist standpoint. So I take a lot of pride in saying that I'm an artist, a poet, but most importantly, a healer.
Thank you so much, Portia. I appreciate that. And thank you also for clarifying. We want to make sure that everyone is able to recognize you by Porsha the Poet, because we want to make sure that they can find you. But yeah, so last month we had the opportunity to speak with Sequoia Brown. And she is an amazing dancer, and she has incorporated dance as far as her journey is with healing. And she does a lot of historical pieces with historical pain and trauma. And then last month, she kind of shared with us, she gave us like a little bit of a background story on a sexual harassment situation that happened with her that took her to a really, really dark place. And one of the things that she was able to do was to kind of refocus that pain into her artistry. So what I would like to find out from you is, how have you used your artistry, whether it has been with film or with spoken word? How have you incorporated that into your healing journey when it comes to, kind of handling or processing trauma?
Yes. So trauma is how I found artistry. As a child. Trauma opened up that door for me to sit with self. And as I sat with self as a child, I found out that I was a writer. So my first experience with artistry and trauma intertwining came from writing. I began a writing journey with my journal to the point to where I was writing in the morning and I was writing at night. And it became like a daily ritual for me. And from that, I started to inspire people with my poetry. I can remember people like asking me, can you write me a poem? Or can you read your poetry to the class? Like stopping the whole, day just to say, hey, we want to hear a poem from Portia. And that was my first introduction, like I said, to art, to artistry from my trauma. And from there, I just started to actually perform my poetry. So from a writer, I became a poet. And from a poet, I became an actor and director. And that's where I really found a whole nother relationship with my trauma and my artistry, because I was able to reenact these moments through film. Not only was I able to reenact them, I was able to tap into different versions of that trauma by whether I was playing the perpetrator of that trauma or reliving my own trauma by acting out things that I may have experienced. So it's just been an all around like experience. Like I have a whole lot of relationship with artistry, and it has been, funneled through my trauma, and my healing has been a huge part of and thanks to being able to be an artist.
Absolutely. And that resonates with me so much. I even though I don't consider myself a poet, I definitely consider myself a creative. And I love to write poetry. I'm definitely a writer. And I too kind of started the same way with writing for years because I've experienced trauma. And I think I shared with you the no words story is actually my story. And that is one of the productions that we do for our training. And much like you know, in my head, I wanted that story to play out a different way, so much more differently than what happened in real life. Because to me, that's also a part of the healing journey. You know, when you look at the trauma from so many different parts, whether you are the perpetrator or you are the victim, ultimately all of it allows you to thrive in a much safer space. So being able to be a creative and use art to continue to help you on your journey when it comes to healing, it's such a peaceful and such a beautiful thing. And so I just absolutely appreciate it. And again, it does, like you said, it just allows you to kind of tap into different areas and you learn so much more about yourself, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
So
the thing I like the most about artistry when it comes to healing is you can create a whole nother dynamic and outcome of your experience. Like
yes,
you can recreate it, but you can also change its effect. You can change the vibration and the frequency of it. You can open up doors for other people, you know,
yes,
to be inspired, to speak their truth and to heal as well. So
yes.
it's just very beautiful.
It is, it is. And I love the part about changing the outcome. You know, when we think about trauma and how it has impacted us and we see it the way that it is, sometimes it can be something that re-victimizes you over and over and over again.
Right.
And you relive it in a way that becomes so painful and dark. And I think that that's what prevents healing from taking place. But as a creative, if you're able to change that outcome, it's so empowering. You know, and it's like, you know, I'm gonna take ownership of this situation in a way that I'm gonna pull something positive out of this negative thing, and that's also gonna help me heal. Right.
Right.
So, yeah. So I love that concept. That is definitely something that I believe in doing. So when people see good news stories in some of our stories, it's like, yeah, but what you don't know behind the scenes is
Right.
this is the reason why, you know, and so I really like that. So film, let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the work that you've done with film and how that has also helped you. What kind of things are you shooting?
Well, so I got into film because once I stopped writing and I started performing, I started meeting other artists. And I started linking up with people that I had created relationships with years ago, you know, in middle school, elementary school, and they were into filming. So I'm like, hey, I'm a very versatile person. I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm very like adventurous. I'm an explorer. You know, I'm pretty much can tap into anything, and I love a challenge. So one of my homeboys asked me how I felt about getting behind the camera for one of his skits, and I was like, and then it was a funny skit. See, I'm not normally I'm only goofy and funny in private. That's like one of my vulnerable sides, to get goofy and to get like to that childlike nature. I only show that in private. But this skit that he asked me to act in was a funny one, and I did it and I enjoyed it. So I'm like, you know what? I got an idea. I got this story that I want to tell, because I don't want to just do art without a purpose. Everything that I do is intentional. So how everything aligned for me was I didn't do it the traditional way. So the traditional way with film is you come up with a treatment. A treatment shows you how each of the scenes will be. And I learned this because my partner graduated from the Art Institute. So I literally just went to my iPhone and I started writing down everything. I started writing everything that I wanted to convey in the film. I started writing down all of the emotions that I wanted to provoke. And we met up one day and literally shot the film. The first film was a suicide film. The suicide film itself for me resonated deeply because as a child, that's something that I struggled with. Like I always was in that space of wanting to commit suicide. And the times that I attempted it, it never worked. So I wanted to convey that in the film, that you always have a greater purpose. You know, so in the film, I had an angel following me. It was a friend of mine that had passed away, and she was following me throughout the film. And when I went to commit suicide, she woke me up. Wow. And I felt like that resonated very deeply for me, because the times that I had attempted it as a child, it didn't go through. And I feel like that was by the grace of the Most High. So that for me, the emotion that that film evoked for me and everybody around me definitely hit a spot, and had a very huge impact, not only on myself, but the community. And people start reaching out saying, hey, like, I feel you. Like, I've been there. I've been through that. And believe it or not, like, a lot of people can relate. Yeah. A lot of us are out here and we think that we are alone and that people, you know, don't understand us or what we're going through. But a lot of people are going through the same things, because it's a lot deeper than, you know, your childhood. A lot of the stuff we experience is generational. It's generational. It goes very, very deep, and it's far beyond our control, because it's like in our bloodline, you know. So it started from there, and I'm like, listen, any material I put out has to be of substance. Any material that I indulge in, even if it's music, my music, if I'm doing a music track with somebody, we have to be talking about something. Like, we can't just, you know, be doing things and not be intentional. And that's why everything that I create, whether it be a film, poetry, anything that I put my energy into, definitely wraps back around to something socially, emotionally, or spiritually evoking.
Yeah, I would definitely, based on what I hear you saying, I would definitely see you as a very conscious artist, you know, very aware and very in tune to what you're putting out. Right. And because healing and energy is also so important to you, making sure that whatever you're putting out is able to connect with people in a way that it's also healing for them. Right. Yeah, I can definitely appreciate that. And I have had the opportunity to see your the suicide movie, short that you did. So definitely, please make sure that you put that in the chat so people can actually see it and we can share it with everyone, so that way that they'll know exactly where they can find that video and check it out, because it is a beautiful piece. Thank you. It resonated with me, and it was another one of my introductions to get to know you and this creative side. And I really like that we're doing this. It's so I feel like it takes off some of the pressure. You know, sometimes when we just have these candid conversations and we're just kind of talking openly about some of the things that have impacted us, you know, in our lifetime, and how we've able to work through those situations and allow those things to not determine who we are as people, but learn and grow in that space, even when it seems so dark at times. But because you mentioned film, what I would like to do is share another one of your projects with us that you did. And this one is on domestic violence, right? So before we go ahead and go live, would you like to share the name of this film with us?
This film is literally just called, I think it's called Domestic Violence Awareness. It's literally just to put the awareness out there. I didn't title it. That's one of the things I struggle with as an artist, coming up with titles to my work. But yeah, it's just a domestic violence awareness skit.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and play that now.
Portia. It's her birthday. Yeah, she beat my ass last week, but it's still her birthday. Like, Alright. I gotta call her anyway because I don't know where she at. She should have been here. Bye.
Yeah,
Happy birthday, babe.
thank you.
Where are you?
Coming up the stairs, but what are you wearing? What the fuck you got on?
This piece I bought for you. Happy birthday, babe. Thank you. How are you? I'm good, but what the fuck are you wearing? Something that I bought for you for your birthday. Okay. You look nice. By the time you got dinner made on time, it's normally late. Okay, I bought this. Sit down. Sit down. I bought this for you. Can I talk? Nah, let's eat. So how was your day? It was okay. What's wrong, man? It's your birthday, like. First things first, I came home to this dry ass salad. You know what? I don't even want this shit. What is wrong? Portia, what's wrong? What's wrong? Bro, leave me alone. I'm on my phone. I'm busy right now. I don't want to be bothered. What is wrong with you? You're annoying as fuck. You can't do the simplest shit, yo. You made me that dry ass salad, bro, with no dressing. You getting on my fucking nerves. Everything that you do really irritates me, yo. Can't take this shit no fucking more. Get out of my life! Hello. Hello. Portia just put her hands on me again. Yes. She in there. Oh, so you out here on the phone with your friend? Portia, I was just trying. I'm gonna kill your ass tonight. Tonight, you gon' die. Portia, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't. You be putting your hands on her, bro. The fuck wrong with you, bro? Come on, bro. Let's go, bro. You keep letting this bitch put her hands on you and shit. What the fuck is wrong with you? Bro, you need to stand with this bitch, bro. You shut the fuck up, bro. You need to stand with this bitch, bro. You coming with me, bro. You gonna leave me? Make a decision right now. Come on, bro. Let's go, bro.
Wow. Wow. That was heavy.
Yeah, that was intense.
Yeah, that was intense. That was intense. But wow, that's all I can say. That was such a great piece. And I appreciate the fact that we're showing that domestic violence does not discriminate, right? And you know, there's a misconception by so many people that when they think about domestic violence or intimate partner violence, that it has to be with a male and a female. But the reality is that anyone can be a perpetrator of domestic violence or intimate partner violence, and anyone can be a victim of it. So thank you so much for sharing that piece. And yeah, and we're going to make sure that we have listed all of the hotline telephone numbers, so that way if you are an individual that is a victim of domestic violence or intimate partner violence, there'll be some resources available. So make sure that you check out the comment section. We'll definitely have that. But thank you so much for sharing that piece. Yeah, so what has been the feedback on this piece from supporters of the work that you do, and just like how, as a creative, how did you feel in this space, and how have you used it, that type of energy? Because now here you are playing the role of the perpetrator, right? So how did you feel about that for you? What was that like for you?
That was intense. Even watching it, I was just like kind of like shaky a little bit, because the the intensity of that vibration is very it just feels very angry and just very heavy. So it's a lot to carry. And a lot of the times people who are abusers, we abuse the people that we love. And it's hard seeing that. It's hard seeing that, you know, in a film, you know, there's a couple that are at odds with one another and physical action is being taken. I personally don't feel like physical action should never be a result of an argument or a disagreement. You know, I'm always wanting to de-escalate. So to even, you know, act out the perpetrator part was a lot. Yeah, I definitely had to meditate on that. I definitely had to channel a certain energy. And that's what any art, you have to channel an energy in order to open up that part of yourself. Because once you turn it off, you're back to just your normal self. As an artist, that's a whole nother entity that you're operating in. That's why I separate myself from my artist. That's a whole nother individual. Yes. So it is mental. It is definitely mental. You know, acting is mental, poetry is mental, all of the arts is mental, which is why it all definitely wraps back around to using it as a mental development to heal from trauma and from any type of adversities that we may be going through as individuals.
Absolutely. You know, we do, of course, many of you know, we do a lot of violence prevention training, and we use theatrics as the forum to deliver our messages when it comes to violence prevention. And one of the things that I always try to make sure that I do is check back in on our team and our edutainers, because especially those individuals that play the role of the perpetrator, you know, the way that they're able to come across is kind of much like this character. You know, it's intense. You know, the spectators are watching and they form opinion about the character, and they're sometimes met with a level of aggression because of that. But they understand that it's really just a role. And I always want to make sure that they're doing something personally to cultivate some form of inner peace, because you have to tap into some place to bring that out. And the same thing, even for those individuals that portray the role of the survivor or the victim, you know, they have to go someplace dark in order to bring that out. So do you find that that there's a process after you go into some of those places that you have to come out of, so that way you can kind of continue? Like, I mean, I heard you say that you separate your character from who you are, but what does that process look like for you?
Oh, that's a good question. That process for me just comes with a lot of self-assurance, you know, because no, I may have not, I haven't been a physical perpetrator, but I have been verbally abusive. I have been emotionally abusive. So I can resonate with just that energy as a whole. So a lot of self-assurance and self-development when it comes to taking the artist part away from me. Okay, so now let's go and figure out, who are you inside? What progress have you made, and where do you still need work at? Be honest with yourself. Being honest with self. Like, okay, because I was questioning myself after I did it. I was like, whoa, I had way too much fun. I had way too much fun being a perpetrator. Like, I was just like, wait, I had a whole live battle in my head. Like, do I like being this villain? Like, is there this part of me that is so in touch and in tune with that dark side of self that when it comes to actually acting it out, I get some type of pleasure from it? Because I had a lot of fun doing that, and I had to just sit with self and figure out why that part of me wanted to express itself. Because I mean, I could have very well volunteered to be the victim, but I volunteered to take on that role. And I feel like within the midst of that, I also learned that, okay, this is an energy that I feel like can be activated in anybody. I feel like at any given moment you can switch, like whether it be from past traumas, whether it be whatever. I feel like at any given moment you can switch, whether it's fight or flight, survival mode, whatever. I feel like anybody can be a perpetrator. Nobody is excluded from that. Absolutely. So just checking in with self was definitely a big part of that process.
And thank you for your transparency and for sharing that. And you're right. I mean, anyone, again, when it comes to intimate partner violence and domestic violence, it does not discriminate. And like you shared earlier, some of these concerns are generational. So if you grew up in a house where you were surrounded by violence or trauma, if you witnessed, your caregivers exhibit that type of behavior towards each other, as you get older, and if you don't take steps that you need as an individual to recognize what those triggers are, and if you don't do some sort of work, then you can find yourself on either side of that spectrum, whether you find yourself now the victim in toxic relationships, or you now find yourself as the abuser, and still, are a contributing factor to that toxic relationship. But it's definitely about doing the work. And I appreciate the fact that you shared that, you experienced trauma in your life and you found a way holistically to help you through that. And that has been with your writing, and now with your spoken word, and with your artistry, and now with film. And that again was such an impactful piece. And I'm sure that many of our viewers, it's going to resonate with them, because even if it's not something that you've experienced yourself personally, I think that by a reasonable person's standard, it's reasonable to say that we know at least one person that we've interacted with that have experienced some type of trauma. Like you said, mental abuse, physical abuse, religious abuse, economical abuse. There's so many different forms of abuse. And some people think, well, this person didn't put their hands on me, so it's not abuse. But don't realize that some other behavior can be impact them, that they're suffering, in silence sometimes, because they're afraid to let people know, or they don't know that they don't know. They don't know that they don't know. So, but yeah, that was such an impactful piece, and I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Yeah. This, it's short, it's sweet, the conversation, but it's candid and it's real. And I just appreciate the fact that you were, again, so transparent with us and just kind of shared some of the things that you're doing. So what else is going on in your world, Portia, as it relates to advocacy?
As it relates to advocacy, I am an advocate with interactive advocacy. And that has just created a whole nother portal for my artistry. The most challenging, I would say, I'm used to hosting. So I host an event titled Lyrical Healing. Lyrical Healing is for poets, musicians, artists of all kinds who come in lyrically release, receive, manifest, and heal. Those are our 4 components. And we do that all strictly through artistry. But that's my lane. When it comes to acting, that's a whole nother ordeal. And then we make it more spiritual when we are advocating for domestic violence, when we're advocating for sexual abuse, when we're advocating for things that are more vulnerable, that makes me just a little bit more jittery. So I've been brought on to the company, and I've been participating as a agitator. So I'm able to be not necessarily behind the scenes, but not on the main stage. And I'm comfortable there, but I find an itch to be uncomfortable, because I know that uncomfortability breeds growth.
Absolutely.
And I know for a fact that this opportunity with interactive advocacy is going to make me uncomfortable and breed a lot of growth in me. So that's what I'm most excited about right now. I've been thinking about tapping more into my artistry, because I feel like I have more of an impact. I can lead people and I host well, but there's just something about, it's just something about being in my artist character that I'm missing. And I just need a little bit of guidance on that, because I'm like, should I tap more into my poetry, or should I make my poetry a part of my acting and combine them together and just go for it? Because what I'm doing is getting a little old. And like I said, I'm a Sag, and I don't like complacency. And, I'm just ready to open up another portal. Not a box, but another portal.
Yes, elevate your impact. It's about being able to transcend your artistry. And what I love, what attracted me to you was the word healing. That's really honestly what attracted me to you. I feel like the work that you do as an artist is a form of ministry, and just how you constantly as an artist work to ensure that everything that you do manifests into a healing journey. That's what I really appreciate about your artistry. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
And I actually had an opportunity to come out to one of your shows, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so dope. I love it, and I can't wait to go back. But I think when it comes to how you put those two together, I think that you're on that journey. I think that is going to happen because of everyone that you're surrounding yourself with. And I think as long as you stay focused with the healing and your artistry and combining it, that's how you're touching people, because everyone that connects with you, there is an energy that they're getting from you, and they're feeding off of that in such a positive way. I know that for me, my connection with you was just genuinely so positive from day one. I was just like, oh my goodness, I just want to know this person. I want to get to know them even more, and I want them to be a part of my team. And I think you're an amazing, amazing artist. I love the work.
Thank you so much.
And I can't wait for all the great things that's going to come for you as an individual, but as a collaboration with Interactive Advocacy. And I'm going to say that I wish you so much congratulations on all of the success, because it's literally here, and I'm decreeing it for you. It is here. It is here. And again, just thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule, your busy schedule. I know we've been trying to line this up, but just kind of just chatting with me a little bit and talking about this journey. And so tell us where we can find you, Portia.
Yes, I am mostly on Instagram. My Instagram is Porsha the Poet, Porsha the Poet. And if you guys want to tap into lyrical healing, you guys can also find lyrical healing on Instagram at lyrical healing the brand.
Awesome. And what is your next event that you're doing at the Healing Lounge? The Healing Lounge? Lyrical Healing Lounge?
No, just lyrical healing.
Okay, lyrical healing. Yeah. So when are you going to do your next event?
The next event is at Snapshot Selfie Studio. We're doing a 70s relationship status party. It's going to be open mic and karaoke. So if you guys just want to come out and, sing for fun or sing for real, you guys can sign up. But that event is going to be on October the 14th. Okay. And we have another event on October the 27th. It's like a Halloween event.
Okay, awesome. Well, you all be sure to check it out, and don't forget to follow Porsha the Poet. We're going to make sure that we share all of her contact information, so you'll be able to have complete access to her. But you can also go on the www.interactive advocacy website, and you're going to find some background information on her bio, and some more info. We're so happy that we have been able to tap into this creative artist. And until next time, continue to be unstoppable. Talk to you soon, everyone.
Peace, everybody.